The Weather Waves livestream literally just happened the other day, and it was absolutely massive. It is fair to say it is probably one of the most anticipated games of 2024, with the game just under 60 days till release. I think about 53 from the time of this recording. Who knows? I'm a bit stupid. But there was one glaring problem that a lot of people don't seem to be talking about. And the funny thing is, it's kind of difficult to spot, as this occurred before the live stream. Now, what am I talking about? Before we get straight into it, we need to talk about one thing: Wuthering Waves and Genshin, the relationship between the two games, as this is kind of an issue. So, here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to give Genshin the credit it deserves in terms of it being the root cause of Wuthering Waves development. I don't know why that statement is so hard to hear for a lot of you guys, and honestly, it doesn't care. Video games build up on the last game, and they have to constantly adapt in order to be given space in this market. Otherwise, games get forgotten about and left behind if they fail to innovate, whether that means come up with sequels or build upon their last game. This is basically what's happening. Koga Games wants a slice of the open world gacha space because Genshin's massive success. You could argue that Genshin only was successful because of COVID or Breath of the Wild. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that it was massively successful, and now there is a new challenger in this space, and I believe Koga Games is looking to be extremely successful, and I cannot wait to play this game. So no matter what I'm about to say in this video, all the stuff we've been talking about, I am 1000% going to be playing Koga Games and making content around it, since I really like the stuff Koga Games do, especially after playing the previous game, Punishing Grey Raven, which you can watch me play on this channel or my Twitch, twitch.tv/Bimo, BIIMOW, and whoever says Bmao, just leave, get out of here. Okay, so here's the thing. We can establish that relationship, but because of this relationship and the a bit of a hostile relationship in the gacha space at the moment, for some reason people can't get along, and a lot of people want to justify it by blaming toxic fans, saying Genshin stans are just abysmal, how dare they exist, go eat your trash in the corner and don't show yourself. Like, I don't know, man. This situation, it's a bit crazy. And I think, honestly, people go too far on both sides of the spectrum. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's get back to the major point at hand. So, the live stream was a massive success, with it confirming the release day on the 22nd of May. Basically talking about the dev work that they're going to do. Originally, I did think that this date was way too soon, and it was a mistake. But after seeing how much effort the devs are doing, they're really working overtime. They went above and beyond, fixing the problems that players outlined. So, listening to player feedback, something that Hoyoverse really doesn't, and they really need to start doing. But Koga Games, this entire live stream was like a big middle finger to Hoyoverse, because they said, we listen to you guys and we care. So that was the biggest flex they could have done. The live stream hit a massive 25,000 viewers, at least minimum. Absolutely huge. I can't remember the Genshin stats, but I'm really going to be honest, it was a lot higher than I thought it would be. Yeah, it was so good and so successful that the Wuthering Waves website actually went down after the live stream, after the producer said, go and sign up. They clearly love this guy so much, because the moment he said go and sign up, the site went down. I know it's not hard to believe, but it's pretty crazy to see. The tangent aside, what is the issue I'm talking about? So before the Wuthering Waves live stream started, we have about 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people in the live chat. So people very passionate, people waiting to watch the live stream. And I'm watching the live stream as well with my chat as well. Shout out to everyone who is watching it with me, because you guys are awesome. Go reminder to check out this channel or my Twitch. So we're checking it out, and oh my god, we were just in shock. I've never seen a live chat this down bad before. I was genuinely speechless when I was doing my live stream. I didn't know what to comment and what to say. All hell broke loose. Maybe because this was a Hoyoverse competitor. There was 2 sides to this war. Actually, there were 3 sides. I'll get into the 3rd side in a bit. But basically, you had people shouting, "Bumbling Waves could never." I've never heard about that, but people were spamming that. I think that's a bit silly. And then you had your typical Genshin could never, and variations of each. People saying, please delay Wuthering Waves until 2027. People saying, let's hope they add Mint into Wuthering Waves. And honestly, I think that's hilarious. I think they should add Mint into Wuthering Waves. That will make it a 10 out of 10 for me. That's the only thing I haven't seen. So if they add Mint, that's it. Game of the year for me right away. Let's go through some of these that I saw that really did, really had my head scratching. So people were just saying, just close the chat. Keep crying, Genshin guys. Honkai could never. Why is Honkai in this conversation? We had Genshin could never. Amazing. So we have fumbling waves like I've seen. People just telling each other to shut up. Wuthering Waves copied Genshin. It was literally World War III in the chat. I've not witnessed this before. Genshin copied Zelda. Wuthering Waves copied Genshin. This game is already breeding a certain community around it. The game is not even out yet. When the game is having this much of an impact before it's released, I don't know what's going to happen when this game comes out. Honestly, I can't wait. 2 months is too long to wait. I need to see what's going to happen now. Is the internet going to implode? I don't know. But this is going to be one of the biggest things to happen in the gacha space since Genshin, in my honest opinion. Hopefully, or maybe people forget about it in a week. Who knows? People saying Kiddo's got better to do. We have some comments which I'm going to skip over. People just straight up insulting other people in the chat. They got to the point where people were talking to each other's... People were like literally referring to other chat members by name. You also had the hashtag buff Arleceno, which I don't even know what's going on with Arleceno. I don't know if there was an issue with her. People just saying, y'all shut up about Genshin. This isn't about them. You got one guy repping the Brazilian flag. It was definitely a moment to behold, and I'm glad I was there to experience it firsthand. And we had one guy saying Zenless Zone Supremacy, the forgotten game. Yes, so this guy called Miguel Marcus got under fire. Someone kept spamming Miguel Marcus is showing fatherless behavior. Well and truly one of the greatest moments to bless us all, indeed. Now, what was this third party I referenced? So many people wanted Kuro Games to add Arabic into the game. I was a bit confused because I didn't know this was a big thing that people wanted, and I didn't find out until I saw the livestream chat. Literally, that was probably the most common argument I see people made, even maybe to the same level as the Genshin could never and Wuthering Waves hate, which is kind of funny. I had no idea. I did not know these games had such a large market in Arabic speaking countries, and I did not know they had any Arabic support at all. Apparently Genshin didn't have it either, so they're looking for Kuro Games to add it, and personally I don't see this as something Kuro Games was expecting, so I can't really comment whether I think this is going to happen or not. But for me personally, I really don't think it's going to happen because I had no idea, but maybe they know better than I do. I don't know anything. I'm just the guy that plays too much Genshin. So yeah, a few things. I feel like the Genshin could never joke is kind of stale. It's a pretty low IQ debate. I don't know why people think it's funny. It's somewhat funny, but to the extent people use it, Genshin is a good game. It has some good foundations. It just has some flaws. Yeah, some major flaws. I won't hide it. But nowadays, when I go and log on YouTube, people either seem to have entire arguments based around Genshin could never. The entire video will be like, Genshin bad. And it could just be about Honkai Star Rail. So it's a very common debate, and it's very exhausting to hear and listen to constantly. I'm not a Hoyo shill. You guys know that from all the boycott videos I made and whatever, trying to talk about Hoyo's bad practices and whatnot. But I think that argument as a whole is kind of boring now. I won't lie, Mint Pickers is still kind of funny. I don't know why it's funny, it just is. But seeing these arguments spammed across the ends of the internet really doesn't do anything at all. It adds no value to the conversation. It's just hate mobs fighting each other. But why is this a big deal? Because I think this entire situation is stupid. That's it. It's pretty stupid. At the end of the day, the only people winning are the companies taking our money. So they really appreciate the attention. But why is this a problem for Wuthering Waves? Because this game's not out yet, and basically the entire marketing is the failure of Genshin. Now, people like to hate Genshin stans, but I do think Genshin haters are just as bad. Imagine your life goal is to sit and wait for Genshin updates just so you can hate on it. Sit and wait for Honkai Star Rail updates so you can hate the game. Sit and wait for Wuthering Waves updates just so you can hate on Genshin. I understand why people get very passionate and emotional about this topic. You know, when I start playing a game, I put the game down and I put it behind me. To the extent that people go out here to make content constantly to just bash Genshin, I generally think that's the same amount of mental illness as people going obsessed about Genshin. I think both extremes are just as bad as each other as they egg each other on. Obviously, the cycle starts with Genshin being disappointed or whatever, and then they become a Genshin hater. Genshin haters attack the Genshin stans, they fight back. It's ridiculously stupid. People really should be spending their energies elsewhere, but who am I to tell people what to do? You guys go fight to the death on the internet. But what does this have to do with Wuthering Waves? With such a aggressive and passionate community coming together from both sides, I do want to see how this plays out, because I don't know if it's going to be as smooth as people think it is. people are hoping that this is the savior, but a lot of people still aren't going to realize. I do think Wuthering Waves is going to have some problems like Genshin did as well. We haven't got a concrete look at the end game. I know people said you had the holographic bosses, which scale up apart from just being a stat stick where the stats are score higher, they get more aggressive. But I don't believe that's still necessarily the end game. They had a different mode, which was somewhat similar to the Abyss. I'm not going to comment on it because I'm not an expert on it. I haven't heard anything that really fixes the concerns that people had before. Yes, the combat looks more rewarding and the feedback looks better in terms of the gameplay. But still, again, I do think it's not going to have confirmed all the issues that people wanted from Genshin fixed. I could be wrong, but it's just my perspective. I think the game is a lot better in terms of the atmosphere and vibe for a lot of people. Looking at the trailers, a lot more serious and straight to the point. I'd really appreciate that change of pace instead of having a bit more like overly colorful, overly cheerful vibes. I appreciated the post-apocalyptic, serious, high-energy stuff. With having this much passion on both sides, I don't think it can cause a good kind of community. Look, you've seen many other games kind of be ruined because of its toxic community, and I'm worried Wuthering Waves will kind of fall into this category, just collecting so many people from both sides. If the game doesn't live up to the expectation, which at the point it is now, I don't think it is possible to live up to the expectation because people are expecting this great savior of a video game with developers who are looking out for them as the player, which again, I love Kuro Games, but they are still a business at the end of the day. But they are one of the most generous ones in terms of the gacha space. Again, gacha games are by definition very predatory, okay? The best of a bad situation is the best thing I can say, if that makes any sense. So I do prefer them than HoYoverse 1000%. But you gotta remember, they are a business, and I don't know if Wuthering Waves can really live up to all the hype. I really hope it does. But with all of this energy surrounding it, before the game's even come out yet, it has the warning signs of having a really bad community that will jumpstart it. I hope it's not the case, but it's kind of what I'm looking at, and it's what the internet has been saying recently. And how are we going to solve it? I don't know. And it's just something I haven't seen people talk about too much. They're just using Genshin as a vehicle for Wuthering Waves, which is a different conversation for a different day, which I can't be asked to talk about right now. People should like Wuthering Waves for the sake of its own game, not as a way for Genshin to have its competition. And we've already confirmed that Genshin is going a completely different direction. And I've already talked about that in this video, which you can go watch if you want to. See you in the next video.